going on, people? Today, I want to go over some things that will probably change your life. And a lot of us have been in a deep movement of where we're supposed to be. So, what I'm going to do is discuss how to get you to the next level. A lot of us, when we've gone through these different types of things in our lives, we go through them with the hopes that other people around us will become beneficial or actually help us out. So what I'm doing is I'm going through these different aspects of what's going on. If you have questions or some type of comments we have comments on the side. Whoa, let me move this out of the way so I don't knock it over, like I always do. Some comments on the side, and so what I need you to do is kind of let me know what's really on your mind if you're hearing this thing for the very first time. And so this is going to be I've yet to figure out why this thing does this and why it has this big challenge with me doing it like this, but it doesn't matter. So within that same situation, I need you guys to also understand that your movement should not be based on the dislike or the like of anybody else. If somebody likes you or dislikes you or is a part of your life or not a part of your life, you have to let them understand that you are important. One of the biggest challenges I find when it comes to people is our physical. We've so conditioned ourselves to the physical part of this thing that we really haven't placed ourselves in a position where we understand what God is actually saying. And what is God actually saying? God is actually saying that your spiritual power is not based on the circumstances around you. Let me tell you how crazy this is. If you look culturally, and this is not general. I mean, this is not specific. This is just a general blanket statement. My father would spank me, and I went to some of my other, and they could be white, Spanish, man, it doesn't matter. They didn't do a lot of spanking. They did timeouts and all these other things. So you begin to think that's the way the cultures are. You think that's the way white people are. That's the way black people are. That's the way Hispanic people are. And what happens is that's a structure that has been given to you. That's not a structure that you've actually experienced. Or you've experienced it at such a small percentage that when it actually takes place, you kind of go, oh yeah, see, that's the way that is supposed to be. So we're taking our grandkids up to the pool up on top of the building. Our pool is on the roof. We have a rooftop pool. We're taking the kids to the grandkids to the rooftop. And while we're taking the grandkids to the rooftop, there's a lady up there. We're trying to get my grandson to get accustomed to being in the water. We want him to learn how to swim. So we're trying to get him to be accustomed to the water. So what we do is we buy these little floaty things. Y'all know the floaty things with the arms and the whole 9 yards. We buy these little floaty things. I'm trying to see if I have a picture of them up there. We buy these little floaty things and we let them kind of play in the water in the floaty things. Now my granddaughter, champ, she's hitting it hard. She's taking it to the move. She's taking it all the way in. My grandson, on the other hand, is having just a slight challenge with it. Yeah, I don't have a picture of them. Yeah, I don't have a picture of them. My grandson, on the other end, is having a slight challenge. He doesn't know whether he should swim or not swim. So he's screaming at the top of his lungs, no, Grandma, no, Pop, I can't do this. Now, the funny thing is he's floating. But here's what's interesting. So to the left of us is a young lady with a couple of her grandkids. And they're sitting in the pool playing. And so while my grandson is screaming bloody murder, I mean, you know, we're the worst grandparents in the world. While he's screaming bloody murder, this lady comes over to us and she goes, "Hey, I teach swimming in high school." I don't have a good picture of them. She said, "I teach swimming in high school." I said, "Okay, cool. Swimming for kids." I said, "Oh, wow, that's kind of good. So what should we do?" Now, realize my grandson is screaming at the top of his lungs. It is echoing off the walls. I said, what should we do? Because I'm waiting for her professional opinion. Plus, I'm trying to move outside of what I would consider, I can't find the picture. I'm trying to move outside of what I would consider to be how we were handled. I said, how did you teach your granddaughters? Because they're they're going into water. She said, I threw them in the middle. She said, I placed them in the middle of the pool and I left them there and told them to figure it out. What? She said, I put them in the middle of the pool and I left them there and I told them to figure it out. Now, even for me, because we were thrown in the pool. Now, we were thrown in the deep end. In our minds, it was the deep end, but it was like maybe 5 or 6 feet deep. Now, as a little kid, 6 feet is a long way. But as an adult, 6 feet is enough that you can jump to the bottom, stand, bounce them, and hold them at the top. Now, what am I saying that to say that? I'm saying that to say that in order for you to go to this next level, and this next level is crucial that you go to this next level. In order for you to go to this next level, you have to break the things that you thought were necessary to get here, to be here, and to move forward. You've got to break those things. And why do you have to break them? You have to break them because they are not moving you to where you need to be. They're simply placing you in a place where you're now submissive to a rule that does not do anything but control you. Does that make sense? So you take into consideration this. Where are you right now? Where do you want to be? I will guarantee every person that listens, I will guarantee 3 things. Number 1, that there is some type of hurt or some type of brokenness in there. Number 2, somebody's lied, hurt you, or said something to you, or done something to you that made you feel like that you were not who you're supposed to be. And number 3, there was a loss. There was a loss. Something you lost, whether you lost money, you lost business, you lost a relationship. There was some type of loss within that. Now, in the Bible, Moses, the children of Israel were given 30 days to mourn Moses. 30 days. After 30 days, you mourn. So they went through the whole mourning process in 30 days. After the 30 days, he spoke to Joshua and said, Moses is dead. When he says this, I want you to understand the concept of what he's saying. What he's saying is the past, that regime, all of that is dead now. I'm going to get this off my screen so that I can see what I'm doing. All of that is dead. And so what he's saying to them is there has to be a transition. Now that all of that is dead, there has to be a transition. Are you ready to transition? So he said, as I was with Moses, so will I be with you. Hear me. I need you guys to hear me very closely. The people that we honored, the people that we loved, the people that we cared about, the people that the people that we called that caused loss in our lives, or the people that caused us to miss out on certain things, those people were there to give us a light to reach for. There's nobody in your life right now, nobody in your life right there, in your life right now that is there to sustain your life. Now, you may make them sustain your life because you depend on them for encouragement or love or whatever, but they're not there to sustain your life. The reason that they're there is to give you the opportunity to know that there's something better. It's to give you a light in your life. So when they leave, they're not leaving and taking the light. What they're believing is you've been in the light long enough that you know how to carry the light yourself. You've been in the light long enough that you know how to carry the light for yourself. So it's time to carry the light. Now, we try to carry the burden and not carry the light. Now, what does that mean? That means you carry everybody's obligation and everybody's circumstance and everybody's situation and you carry all that stuff. You carry it at a level that will help you feel good about yourself. But really what you have to realize is, wrong phone. What you really have to realize is that you carry the light now. And I'm going to say this like this because it'll help you. You carry the light. So if you carry the light, you know what that means? That means the fact that you don't want to be in front of people, you keep walking away from situations and circumstances, means that the person that now looks to you for the light is not able to get the light because you've allowed your circumstances and how you feel and how you don't feel and what you think and what you don't think to change the opportunity that they need to get their light. My wife and I are doing couples conferences. We're doing a spiritual retreat, and we're doing couples conferences. I don't know if I have the flyer for the spiritual retreat. We're doing the spiritual retreat, and we're doing a couples conference. My wife is not really into doing video, but I explained the same thing to her. I said, you carry a light that could give somebody, encourage somebody at the next level. And the only sacrifice you hold is how you feel about it emotionally. How you feel about yourself emotionally. And can I take it just a step deeper? What you have to realize is there is somebody that's the same weight, same build, same hue, going through the same things in their lives, and they want to hear how you made it through so that they can make it through. They want to hear how you made the next step so they can make the next step. But there's a couple of things they need to understand. Are you willing to sacrifice? See, we say we sacrifice because it's easy to take money out of our pocket and go, oh my God, I need to sacrifice this money and put that money someplace else. That's easy. The only challenge that comes at the level of giving the money. So if they're asking for 1,000 and you only have 100, then it becomes a struggle. But if they ask for 100, you have 100, no struggle. But the biggest thing you have to ask yourself is, there's a song by the Winans, if you love me, why won't you give me you? The biggest struggle that you're going to have in your entire life, and hear me very carefully, is the sacrifice of your light, or the sacrifice of you that you may shine the light. Not cover people, not become people's gods, but begin to say, I know this is the vision for my life. This is the light I'm supposed to shine. I'm not going to let how I feel about myself, how people feel about me. I'm not going to let any of those things stop me from shining this light. But I'm going to shine this light. I'm on live every single solitary day. I'm on live every day. Why? Because that's my sacrifice. Yep. I'm a living sacrifice. That's my sacrifice. And when I understand that's my sacrifice, from that point on, I can move to whatever level I want to move to. Make the sacrifice. Make the sacrifice that your children have someplace. See, you have to make the sacrifice when it comes to your children. You got to make the sacrifice when it comes to your family. And the sacrifice when it comes to your family doesn't mean taking care of them. It means being able to speak the truth. Like, no, I can't supply that need. I'll help you supply that need. I will give you the opportunity to get that need supplied. But I cannot supply that need. Truth becomes a sacrifice. Why? Because I know they're gonna think. They're gonna think my mom gonna think this, my cousin gonna think this, my uncle gonna think this, my dad gonna think this. It doesn't matter what they think, because the truth will stand. It doesn't matter how they feel. I don't want them to feel. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why? Because there are people that hold on to grudges, and the grudges they hold on to show nothing to do with you. It's their weakness. It's their brokenness. It's their part of them. The grudges they deal with have nothing to do with you. They have nothing to do with happening in your life. They have to do with how they are dealing with life. To be a spiritual person, a person at a level in the spirit, you have to understand that religion is the lowest form of spirituality. Christianity is the lowest form of spirituality. The highest form of spirituality is godliness. That's the highest form of Christianity, and that's godliness. When you understand that, you understand that in certain sacrifices, God made these sacrifices pertaining to those things. That's it. However you slice it, that's the way it is. It's because God knows that if I make the appropriate sacrifice, I know that eventually I can make the appropriate change. That's just the way it is. And when you understand that, when I had to understand that, I had to learn that in order for me to be what I wanted to be, or be what God wanted me to be, I had to stop wondering about what I was, and I had to look at how He defined me. When I do this spiritual retreat, the key is not telling them that they're good people or bad people. The key is putting them in position where they can pull out the best of who they are. We get worried. We get afraid because if someone tells us something and that thing does not agree with our flesh, not our spirit, if that thing does not agree with our flesh, we think that person is saying, we think they have something up their sleeve. We believe they're doing something, something's wrong. And so what we do is we back away from it. I would never forget. I was talking to this young lady, this group of young ladies. I was there with my at the time my wife, and one of the young lady's sons smashes into a wall. I mean, goes bam, hits his head. He just, because he's playing and he's running, and bam, he hits the wall. When he hits the wall, I said, everybody look at me. And it's like 4 women there, and they're like, I said, look at me, to the point I almost had to make them look at me. Do not look away. And so finally they all looked at me, and by the time he got off the floor, he was looking around the room. And so he's looking around the room, and everybody's looking at me. He sees everybody looking at me. He gets up off the floor, runs back in the room, and he keeps playing. Every one of the parents looked at me and said, why did you tell us to look at you? I said, what people don't understand about growing and children is they are reflective of what they say. When he was looking at you for a level of validation. Am I hurt? Am I not hurt? How do I respond to this particular thing? So when he looked at you to respond to that particular thing, he realized that you guys didn't take it as a big deal. So he didn't take it as a big deal. And he went back in there and played. So when you see kids responding to you a certain way and acting a certain way, this is what I said. I said, they just simply are reflections. We want to believe that kids came up with thoughts and processes and ideas by themselves. No, they didn't. They looked at you and they said, this is how I respond to this situation. Second situation. So my grandson wanted me to let him eat cereal all day long. I said, no, you can't eat cereal. I'm telling you, these guys. And he goes, I want to eat cereal. I want to eat cereal. So he starts to cry. And so I'm in the living room. Now the living room is here. The kitchen is here. I'm in the living room and he begins to cry. I get up and I go into the kitchen. Now I don't hide from him. I'm watching him over the counter cry. And he's crying and crying and crying. Now I'm the only person in the house. So he's screaming as loud as he possibly can and I'm ignoring him. Finally, I'm looking at him over the counter, and while I'm looking at him over the counter, he's looking around to see who's crying, watching him cry. People, he stops crying, he gets up. Now, to go into the kitchen, there's a little walkway. You come from the living room into the kitchen. He goes up, he sits in the middle of the walkway, looks at me, and starts to cry again. Why? The case was he wanted attention. He wanted attention. He wanted to make a point of why he was crying. Why? Because that's his form of control. He knew that controlled. But what happens is, in a man's mind, that cry is a noise. In a woman's mind, that cry is a poke. Anyway, my point is this. It is not your job to satisfy everybody's needs. It's your job to get to the point that is depth, that is engraved in your spirit, and allow your spirit to reach the levels that your spirit should reach. That's it. My job is to show you how to get there. You're not going to like everything I say. Why? Because you're accustomed to doing it the way you want to do it. You want to feel like you're in control. You're not. God is in control. So if you kick against the prick, as the passage says, you tend to cause damage to a situation that you could simply fix by simply walking a step. Well, how do you know what's right? I don't know what's right all the time. I just know what I know when I know what I know. And when I know what I know, that's what I deal with. I live with that life. I don't live with the life of hoping I'm better than you or smarter than you. I live with the life that says I want everybody to be okay. I want everybody to live a great life. I want everybody to be happy. And so what I do is I attempt to do that. So that's a little quickie from me to you. I think I got this thing right now. I think I got it right. I'm not real sure. So I'm looking at, I have the YouTube over here. I have my software over here. So I'm hoping that gets right and I can get it together, because as of today, I'm going to put up a form that says we want to go strictly to YouTube from this point on. We're not going to go to Instagram for this everywhere, even though Instagram is very good. So anyway, it's Kate and Karen. Kate and Karen, how you guys doing? So that's about it, guys. I'm going to keep on going, and I love you very much, and this will be on this Instagram a little bit later. So, you know, if you have any questions, any comments, or concerns, just, you know, hit me up here. Make sure you like and follow, and hit the little bell so you'll know that when I come on, because we're going to start doing this through YouTube. All right. I love you guys very much. I'll talk to you a little bit later. Peace.